very happy to address you. I also have to comment on the sad fact that the media are only interested when there's the possibility of an arrest or a scuffle or something sensational. That's really sad. All of the people here today are aware that there's been a genocide going on in Gaza for a year now. We've all seen it in horrific detail. The world has seen it, the International Court of Justice has ruled on it, and as we've said so many times, the only response from our government and from the American government is to remain silent in the case of our government, or in the case of the American government, to ship more bombs. The absence of humanity that we've seen has been truly astonishing. It's been disheartening, not just to people with connections to the Middle East, whether they be Palestinians or Muslims, but to so many people in the community. I've had people come up to me who've never spoken to me about politics. My mechanic, my mother's podiatrist. People come up to me and say, why can't anybody stop this? Why can't they do something about it? And it's a great question, and it goes to the question of power and who holds power. We, in our own small way, the Solidarity Movement, there's people here of lots of different perspectives. We are trying to hold the people in power to account, and we are trying to fight against overwhelming odds. When you look at the garbage in the Murdoch press, the mouthpiece for Israel, pushing genocide on a daily basis, excusing apartheid, excusing the settlement, ignoring reports of the torture of prisoners, of the starvation of people, of the blowing up of hospitals, all irrelevant news. So we in our small way are speaking up against this. We're trying to put pressure on the people in power to react with some humanity and to react in a way that's consistent with international law. We're doing our best, we'll keep doing our best, and reflect on the variety of people that have supported Palestine. We've got people on the left of politics, we've got people in the centre, we've got people that are religious, we've got people that are secular, we've got people from the Muslim community, from the Palestinian community, from the peace groups, from the broader community. The support for Palestine, the feeling for Palestine has been phenomenal, and people have recognised in this tragedy something that indicts the entire world system, indicts our government, indicts the Americans. I'm here today. I've agreed to speak in the name of solidarity with other people supporting Palestine. There was an issue as to whether there should be protests on this day, that the Israeli agenda, the idea that Israeli suffering is the only thing that comes first and must always be highlighted, and that the 40,000 dead Palestinians, the God knows how many thousand, perhaps 100,000 maimed and wounded, that's not a story. It's only October 7th. Nothing before October 7th, nothing after October 7th. And what is the promise after the Israelis finish their killing? More of the same. More apartheid, more military occupation, more settlements, more killing, more torture. So people from across the religious spectrum, the political spectrum, have stood up, and they need to keep standing up. Because the war has expanded in a substantial way to Lebanon now, the media and the government have seized on Hezbollah as the new bogeyman. So, similar to the protests you saw at the beginning of this genocide, the Sydney Opera House protests, somebody in a crowd says something, and the Premier of New South Wales jumps up and says, ban the rallies. So the message of thousands and thousands of people against a genocide that we've all seen is documented, that message is not as important as somebody in a crowd holding up a sign or saying something. And we see the same now with the hysteria about Hezbollah. And this is where the media attention comes in. Now, people in Lebanon don't see Hezbollah the way our government does. Our government has listed it as a terrorist organisation because the Israel lobby and the Americans decide who isn't a terrorist. They decide that Russia is a terrorist state, but Israel is not. These are political decisions. So I'm not standing here to advocate for one or other group, whether it be Hamas or Hezbollah or anyone else, or anything they might do or may not do. But I am here to speak truth. And as I said just a couple of weeks ago, for most Lebanese, Hezbollah is the group that chased Israel out of Lebanon after 20 years of a vicious occupation. These people any way they like. It doesn't change the truth that in the context of the Middle East, they have fought against an apartheid expansionist regime. Now, all of us support a peaceful Australia. Nobody that I know of has come out and suggested violence in Australia in connection with the struggle that's overseas. For a year in Adelaide, we've had peaceful protests. We've attempted everything we can to work through the system and to put whatever pressure we can to raise people's awareness. And we won't stop doing that. But when the government want to shut you down, they will find an excuse. And they will look for the wrong flag in a crowd.